UNESCO was having this sector called Communication Information, CI sector, and they wanted me for technology in education. So I went to UNESCO. It was a big shift from academia, but big part of it is my father was diagnosed with the Parkinson disease, and I wanted to be back in Egypt. I didn't know how to do that, but that job I didn't apply for, the UNESCO job. Just a friend, an old friend of mine suggested to me. So I felt like God wants me to go back to it. He gave me a position in Egypt. It was in the Cairo office, so I thought, wow, this is the only way to do it. So I went. Now I had a different exposure. For 13 years in UNESCO, between Egypt and Paris, I have seen hundreds of countries struggle with education, struggle with technology in education, struggle with digital content. They talk about a lot of stuff, but very little is done in terms of solutions. Now, of course, as an engineer, I can't sit patiently listening to problems and problem discovery. I want a solution. I want to do it. Let's think of a solution. So I still knew the Apple folks, by the way, since Steve's days, even after Steve, and I used to talk to them all the time. And one of those conversations was with, before the EKB, was with John Couch, who was the vice president for education at Apple. I think this conversation must be in 2008, or I was at UNESCO, 2008 or something. It was after the first iPhone was announced, and I went to Cupertino. I met him there, but I also met him in Munich, and I remember telling him, John, we must be able to do something now that you have this amazing device. Can you do an iPhone that is much bigger, like the size of a DVD box? And he said, why? He said, because we can put courses on these devices. Imagine, courses would be in the hands of people, like with the internet and courses you can have. And that was the birth of the iTunes U idea, where he really did it. And they made the iPad, and they made the courses, and I used to talk to him and to his colleagues, to his team about the courses, and they took my advice in Arabizing the interface. They sent me the fonts and so on. So being influenced when I was young with Taha Hussein and others, but along the way, maybe I went to places the right time.